Now it's time for The World's Gone Mad. Yes, it truly is a world gone mad when the revered French historical and religious heroine and Catholic saint Joan of Arc is yet again to be burnt at the metaphorical stake of woke revisionism. A few years ago, Joan of Arc was portrayed as a non-binary individual with they, them pronouns in what the director of something called I, Joan, described as a, quote, big, sweaty, queer revolution, rebellion and festival of joy, end of quote. Then this week came the news that Joan of Arc is to be played by Scottish actress Mandeepa Cabanana in a new production. Perhaps it escaped the casting agent's notice, but Joan of Arc was white, and Ms. Cabanana, talented and versatile actress, though no doubt she is not white. Or perhaps that was the point. Here we go again with what I call the endless Bridgetization of history, where, like the originally intriguing but now extremely tedious Netflix series Bridgerton, the entire creative premise is based around black actors playing white historical characters, but never note the reverse. Not everybody is impressed.
Joan of Arc is being portrayed as a black woman on stage in Scotland.
What?
I'm sorry, how is this any different from Ryan Gosling playing Barack Obama?
Good point. Perhaps Ryan Gosling could play Barack Obama. And while we're at it, and in the woke spirit of happily mixing gender and racial stereotypes, Michelle Obama could be played by, I don't know, Brad Pitt. After all, AI, it appears, can do anything these days. Yes, that is an AI clip, an artificial intelligence clip, released this week, which has Hollywood in an absolute panic. That scene never happened, but it appears to be a fight scene between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Viral AI-generated video of actors Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fighting is causing a stir online.
And there is concern over the believability of these clips and the unauthorized use of copyright materials.
On the surface, it looks like two of Hollywood's biggest stars going head-to-head in an action-packed showdown. Tom Cruise versus Brad Pitt. But the scene never happened.
They're like two of the biggest movie stars, and it was funny to see them say stuff that no one would ever agree to having them say.
Needless to say, the Hollywood fraternity has suddenly woken up to the threat that artificial intelligence, AI, poses to their extravagant livelihoods. The joke, of course, is that there's nothing new to all this. Hollywood was predicting all the way back in the early 90s how AI would destroy the entire planet. Only then they called it Skynet.
Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th.
The original AI, proving that in this mad and crazy world of ours, what's fake appears to be true and what's true appears to be fake. New Yorkers woke up this week to find out that their new mayor, Zoran Mamdani, really is a communist. And in order to fund his ridiculous concepts, such as free grocery stores, he really might choose to put property taxes of 9.5% on working-class and middle-class New Yorkers, along with helping himself to the Big Apple's retirement piggy banks.
To balance the budget as required by law, our preliminary budget takes the only path within our control, the second path. The options of the second path are the options of last resort. In order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
Ah, yes, closing the gap. Where have I heard that before? New Yorker Rob Smith was unimpressed. Like most of us, he still hankers after the New York of breakfast at Tiffany's and barefoot in the park.
I never could do that.
It's easy.
Sadly, that New York of glamour, style and sophistication has largely disappeared, according to Rob Smith.
I think a lot of people really need to start coming to terms with is the fact that that kind of like old school, glamorous, you know, New York City, like you can still find pockets of it, of course. You can still go see Broadway, you know, Fashion Week is still here. All of those things are still here and they're not going away. But for the most part, it has turned into and will continue to turn into basically a dumping ground for everyone from the third world. And I'm sorry to say, guys, it ain't going back.
Indeed, instead of waking up to breakfast at Tiffany's, many New Yorkers are now complaining that since the election of their new mayor, they are now increasingly waking up as early as 5 a.m. every morning to the sound of the Islamic call to prayers. Meanwhile, another popular local New Yorker was making quite a splash on the international stage. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as she is known, decided to test her diplomatic skills at the Munich Security Conference this week.
I think what we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes.
Right, okay. Munich is, of course, known not only for its beer, but also its Kartoffelsalat. But I don't think they'd ever heard a word salad quite like that one. But not content with reinventing democratic Kamala-style Wortsalat, AOC also decided in Munich she would reinvent the pregnant pause. When asked if she were elected president, or to be elected president in 2028, whether or not she would order the USA to go to war with China to defend Taiwan.
You know, I think that this is such a, you know, I think that this is a, this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Needless to say, another famous New Yorker, and one who actually might one day have to confront such a decision, was unimpressed.
By the way, I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look with the United States.
He does have a point. Speaking of what's going on in the streets of America's most populous cities, one of these men is known as the boss, and the other is known as a woke, washed-up pop star whose recent recording of the streets of Minneapolis was a national embarrassment. Bruce Springsteen is now planning to take his TDS tour, his Trump derangement syndrome tour, on a US-wide tour.
We are living through dark, disturbing, and dangerous times, but do not despair. The cavalry is coming. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band will be taking the stage this spring. We will be rocking your town in celebration and in defense of America, American democracy, American freedom, our American Constitution, and our sacred American dream, all of which are under attack by our wannabe king and his rogue government in Washington, D.C.
The cavalry is coming. I think he means cavalry. But before you all rush out and buy your tickets to Bruce Springsteen, perhaps it's worth a quick glimpse of what you will be letting yourself in for.
King Trump's private army from the DHS, guns belted to their coats, came to Minneapolis to enforce the law.
Baby, we were born to hate Trump. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. That'll do. Meanwhile, did I mention Memdani's free grocery stores? Let's see how that's all going, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, anybody in line without a ticket will not be served. I do not care how long you've been standing in line, you will not be served.
Yo, babe, it's literally like.
Yes, it truly is a world gone mad. At least it is when you get communists running the show.